Hello friends, this video on NEET Ecology is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Question number 19. Which of the following pair is correctly matched? Eurycotelism, aquatic habitat; parasitism, intraspecific relationship; excessive perspiration, xeric adaptation; streamlined body, aquatic adaptation. Now, in this case, the correct option would be D, streamlined body, aquatic adaptation. So, if you look at the streamlined body of all the aquatic organisms like fishes, which help them to move through water, right? So, that's an aquatic adaptation of the aquatic organisms. Now, let's look at the other options, why they are incorrect. Now, if you talk about eurycotelism, so eurycotelism is an adaptation of the terrestrial reptiles and birds. So, how eurycotelism helps the terrestrial? So, this helps terrestrial reptiles and birds. That is, it is a form of excretion which is seen in reptiles and birds. So, this type of excretion helps in efficient water conservation and also it detoxifies ammonia. So, eurycotelism has nothing to do with aquatic habitat. If you talk about parasitism, so parasitism is never intraspecific relationship. It is an interspecific relationship, because in parasitism we talk about two organisms where one organism is a parasite and the other organism is a host. So the parasite lives in the body of the host, derives its nutrition from the host and also harms the host. That's parasitism. So that always happens between organisms of two different species. So this is an interspecies specific relationship. Third option is excessive perspiration in xeric adaptation. Xeric adaptation means the adaptation of organisms which live in desert areas. That's xeric adaptation. Now in desert areas you anyways have less water. So the organisms always try to adapt features which help them to conserve water. So if there is excessive perspiration, then there would be too much of water loss from the organism's body, which is not desirable. So mostly the xerophytes will have less perspiration to conserve more water. So here the right option is D. Question number 20. A fertile agricultural soil appears dark colored at the surface as compared to soil 1 meter down. The reason for color of topsoil is more moisture, rich in organic matter, rich in iron, calcium and magnesium, recent formation. Now, when you look at the various layers of soil, the topmost layer of soil is generally dark in color due to the presence of humus. Humus is nothing but organic matter. Now, the topmost layer is rich in organic matter and that makes the soil fertile and that also gives the dark color to the soil. Question number 21. Deep black soil is productive due to high proportion of, so this deep black soil, what does it have? It has humus in it. Humus increases the fertility of the soil and therefore the productivity of the soil also increases. So here the correct option is clay and humus, because they contain high content of minerals which are necessary for the growth of plants and therefore the crop productivity of the soil increases. Question number 22. Phenomenon when organisms resembling others for escaping from enemies is, okay, so one organism resembling another organism so that it can protect itself from enemies or from predator. What is that phenomenon called? That is mimicry. So the organism which resembles other organism, that organism is called mimic, and the organism to which it resembles is called a model. Question number 23. If 20 joules of energy is trapped at producer level, then how much energy will be available to peacock as food in the following chain? So in the following chain, we have plant at the producer level, then we have mice as the primary consumer, snake as the secondary consumer, and peacock as the final tertiary consumer. So how much energy is trapped at the producer level? 20 joules of energy is trapped at the producer level. Now we have learned about the Lindemann's law. The Lindemann's law states that at each trophic level, only 10% of the energy gets transferred from the previous trophic level. That means if 20 joules of energy is trapped at the producer level, by the time the mice eats these plants as food, only 10% of this energy will get trapped in mice. Now 10% of 20 joules, which would be equal to 2 joules. So 2 joules of energy would be trapped in the mice. Similarly, when it goes to the next level, 10% of 2 joules. So that would be equal to 0.2 joules. Now again in the next level, here in peacock, it would be the energy available to peacock would be 10% of 0.2, which is equal to 0.02 joules of energy. So therefore the correct option would be 0.02, which is option A. Question number 24. Match the following and select the correct option. Okay, so here earthworm. What is earthworm? Earthworm feeds on dead organic matter, and organisms which feed on dead organic matter are called detrivores. So earthworm is a detrivore. Now, now what do we have next? So we have here natality. What is natality? Natality is birth rate or population growth. So natality means more human beings are born. That means it indicates a growth in population. So population growth and natality would be the perfect match. Pioneer species. So pioneer species, what are they? So they are the first species to be seen in a damaged ecosystem, and they give rise to a stable ecosystem over a period of time. So the pioneer species basically give rise to succession, a chain of ecological succession that ultimately leads to a more biodiverse, steady state ecosystem. So pioneer species will be matched with succession. And now we are left with ecosystem service and pollination. So obviously pollination is one of the ecosystem services provided for the organisms to grow and flourish. So which would be the correct option? So if you have A, B, C, D here, so A matches with 2, B matches with 1, so 2, 1, 4, 3. So option D is the right one. Question number 25. Which one of the following is not a functional unit of an ecosystem? Energy flow, decomposition, productivity, stratification. So which is not a functional part of ecosystem? Energy flow is a functional unit, right? Productivity is also a functional unit, because when we talk about ecosystem, functional units means all that which relates to the function of an ecosystem. But if you talk about stratification, it is a structural unit of the ecosystem, because it is the vertical distribution of different species occupying different levels. For example, if you look at this forest, you have different levels, like the top vertical strata. Stratification means you divide it into different vertical levels, and these vertical levels are called as strata. So here if you see, the top vertical strata is covered by the trees. So the trees occupy the top vertical strata. The next or the second vertical strata is occupied by the shrubs, that is the middle-sized plants. The bottom vertical strata is occupied by the grasses. So what are these? So these are nothing but vertical structural differentiation of different species, like grasses, herbs, shrubs, trees, and so on. So stratification is a structural unit and not a functional unit of ecosystem. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com for free quality education. You can learn with a simple 4-step learning process wherein you can watch video lessons, you can ask your questions, you can refer notes, and you can take a free online test. We have content for class 6 to 12 on physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology along with practical videos. So please subscribe to our channel for daily updates. Thank you.